Well, that was a great start to the new year, wasn't it? Not. Our first post-game show and player ratings. Are you as deflated as we are? Here we go. Some of you might not be. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. Good evening, boys and girls. Good morning. Early hours of the morning here in beautiful Southern California. Still in my PJs. And here we are after what started off as an insanely brilliant game. Ended up being a huge disappointment. Welcome back to the podcast, my brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year. Do not be down. Do not be despondent. We know it hurts. Of course it hurts. But that was a bit more like it, wasn't it? That performance was a bit more like it. It was.
Okay.
It was.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get to that, Kevin.
No, we will get to it, but this is my time, isn't it? So, squaddies,
well, it's just the intro, but yeah.
Do not be despondent. At ease.
Okay, this is what I want. Josh, Tactical Josh, welcome back to the show. Happy New Year to you. Josh, good to see you.
Thank
Happy
you.
New Year, Josh.
If people don't know, all the zoos are closed on New Year's Day, so that's why I've made it along today.
Are you here to brag about Brighton?
No. I don't know. We haven't played yet, so maybe not. No, I'm here. Oh, I haven't been that angry for God knows how long. Certainly not, at least over 2 years with this Arsenal side. And I think that shows how much we've changed. That
Yes.
I am angry. Let's see, my partner saw a different side of me today.
Yes.
I don't think she'd wish to
Mine
see.
too. Mine too.
Yeah.
Mine's actually said, she goes, is it a good idea that you go on air right now? And I said, probably not, but we're going to do it anyway. Listen, I don't want to. Okay. We're going to get to all of this. Stop it. Stop blaming the refs. Just stop. Everyone has had moments this season where you've called us Varsenal. Everyone has said, oh, I'm glad that went away. Every team has to deal with this nonsense called VAR. We controlled that game. We played the best football I've seen us play in years. And you know why I say that is because of the opposition. The greatest team in the land, the greatest tactician in the world, one of the best managers of our modern lifetime. They didn't even have a shot on target in the first half. Manchester City. And our naivety, our stupidity, our idiocy cost us that game. We had our chances and we missed an open goal as well. And then what happens? We said this on the show. I've said it to Kev before. We're a mature young team, but we're still naive. And we lost our minds in the second half. We had no composure. Lacazette tried so hard to compose everybody. And once again, Kev and I have talked about the player that is Xhaka. Senior player. I don't care if Silva is falling to the ground. You do not grab his shirt. You do not allow the referee to give you the opportunity to make that decision. We ruined everything that was great about that first half. And you know why? Because at some point you've got to make a turn a corner. You got to be able to show growth. And once again, we just snapped and we fell apart. Completely our own doing. Mental naivety, stupidity, that's in the control of the team. They had nothing today. You could see it on their faces. They knew they were beaten. And that's why this one hurts bad, Super Kev. That's why it hurts more than any other loss in a long, long time. I said to Tony, I said, listen, extra time, they will get a goal. It's got it written all over it.
So, can I just address this Napsolito? Kevin with the free hit argument now. Which free hit? Who said?
You haven't even said anything yet.
Who said anything about a free hit?
You haven't even said anything.
I've said So let's just clear this up. There are no free hits at Arsenal.
100%.
Right. So let's clear that up. I thought so. I agree with you. Do you know what? Josh, you say your piece because I'll come in after you, Josh.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm going to go, and the thing that changed for me in that game was something happened in the second half, and City didn't necessarily go up another gear, but something changed. You know, we saw, and sorry, Soph, I'm going to drop it in there. What Granit Xhaka did, there's a rule for one and there's a rule for Granit Xhaka, because Edison came out at a similar speed, put in a similar tackle into Martin Odegaard that also goes to VAR and isn't given. I don't think either
He
of those
got the
were
ball
penalties.
first. He got the ball first. Even
And
Kev thought.
Bernardo didn't have control of the ball when he went down. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but when I last was giving penalties away, you've got to have control of the ball. The attacker's got to have control of the ball when the tackle comes in.
Grabbed his shirt, because
I mean,
remember,
everybody.
a foul could be given for me grabbing your shirt with the ball's nowhere near.
Yeah, but when have those been given? That's
but
the
we've seen them given.
inconsistency.
That's the
We've
point,
seen them
Josh.
given, but in the first half, we also had Gabriel Jesus was held by Thomas Partey. That wasn't given when he's going for it. And it's consistency and inconsistencies there.
Josh,
that's for me.
This is, I agree with you.
Yeah.
These are the inconsistencies. But at the end of the day, when it mattered and they were in the box, because look, when you're champions, if you remember the time when you're champions all them years ago, you tend to get these little breaks.
I totally agree.
Big decisions, big chances,
Exactly,
things
Kev.
go your way.
Yeah.
It went against us today.
That's why I think we're angry, is because we can see that we played so well up until that moment. Gabriel getting his second yellow card, partly naivety, partly, again, where was the referee giving yellow cards for exactly the same fouls throughout the rest of the game? He suddenly snapped. He suddenly turned and went, oh, hang on, I'm losing control of the game here. Another yellow card. See you later, Gabriel. Auf Wiedersehen. I think a lot of us were like, well, that's it. Because we've seen this before. We've seen it up at Old Trafford in the 90s when we were champions. We go up to Old Trafford, we'd see a second yellow card come out of nowhere, and then we're like, well, that's it. It was incredibly frustrating, but also the positive because there's got to be a positive you take out from this.
100%.
One of them is look how much that has changed. That is very different from the 5-0. We're angry not because our players, I'm not angry because I don't think the players let us down in this result. I feel like 99% of the performance we saw out there showed we could beat City on our day. We had that there, and there were just the tiny things that have changed. This wasn't Arsenal imploding and fucking ourselves compared to other occasions. This really was a galvanizing performance. And up until the 95th minute, I could still see us going along to getting a draw. It's still there. We showed how much we've changed, how much we've matured in that short space of time since we'd last played Man City. But it's still incredibly frustrating just to see some of those inconsistencies, shall we say, particularly by the goal scorer of the final goal. I think there was an opportunity there where that particular player wouldn't be on the pitch at that point, or at least after his celebration shouldn't have been off the pitch for a second yellow. But yeah, I think we'll go into the game in a bit more detail. And Kev, I'm sure you've got some more points you want to pick up as well.
Yeah, look, I agree. I agree with both of you. My point at first was don't be too despondent, was because we always talk about we're playing the champions and this is a gauge for us. That performance there showed that we are learning. We are improving. Yes, there are still things to clean up. And you know what happened in the second half? We got caught up in the hullabaloo of being ahead against Man City. That's what happened. We got caught up in it. The crowd were incredible today. Let's be honest. The fans were amazing. I think the players got caught up a little bit in the second half. Sophie's right. You could see Lacazette trying to calm people down, trying to get them to refocus. But the aggression and the fans and everything, it happens in young players. It does. It affects young players to a sense that the decision-making sometimes gets compromised. And that's what happened to us today. Our decision-making got compromised.
I'm bringing in JJ as well, our two tactical squaddies
JJ.
with us. Welcome, James, to the show. We're just chatting about, the game, of course, and some of the incidences with regards to referee decisions. We've all kind of given an initial summary. Go on, Kev.
So I just want to finish off. That penalty decision in the first half was massive for us. It really was massive for us. And did the referee go to VAR?
VAR went to him and told him,
but he never
didn't go
went
to
and
the
had a
screen.
look, did he?
No.
Right. So again, why would he go to the VAR for Man City's penalty and not go for our one?
Can I put my tinfoil hat and answer that one? It's because Kevin Friend moved from being on the line into fourth official position at half time. That's what changed. Because while he was on the wing and they had the rookie playing fourth official, it was a proper, well-managed game from the referee. I thought he was superb in the first half. And something happened in that second half where they completely lost control of the game. And the officials changed. It's a bit like a substitution can knock another team out of whack.
But
that's
Josh,
what I thought happened.
Josh, we're on about VAR here, aren't we? It's not the fourth official, it's VAR.
But they're part of a group, aren't they? The fourth official.
Yeah, but the VAR, my point of the matter is this. Why didn't VAR say go and have a look at it? Because if he had gone and had a look at that, that would have been a penalty.
Oh, I agree. I don't think either were penalties, but I think if the referee looks at them, he gives both.
Listen, I thought Granit Xhaka's tug on the shirt, that maybe before that wasn't a penalty, but today that is a penalty. And the tackle on Erdegaard was a penalty as well. That's what I think. So all I'm asking for is a little bit of parity, right? That's all. A little bit of parity. We got caught up in the hullabaloo and we ended up coming out with a loss. But you know what? I'm frustrated. I'm disappointed, but I'm not despondent. I'm telling you now, you could see this team starting to evolve a little more. We gave them murders in the first half. Manchester City. And, people weren't giving us credit. They weren't the same. We never made them be the same team. So, sorry, go on, Josh.
41 million pounds left back or centre back playing left back. Saka had him on toast. And Cancelo, one of the best fullbacks we would say in the league. Martinelli, all day, pushing him back. Absolutely. Until the second half, when Martinelli was then taken out with, a Martin Keown favourite, I think, as he described it on BT's, a proper reducer. Again, a rule for one and another rule for Granit Xhaka. One of them would have been seeing his marching orders for that tackle, irrespective of how much the ball was won. But yeah, Soph, do you want to say something?
Yeah, no, I want to get James's take as well before we move into kind of like player ratings, and then that takes us into a bit of more of a broader conversation. Good morning, afternoon, evening, happy New Year to all of you, all 400 of you in live chat right now, for joining us. James, we were WhatsApping during the match and getting excited. I think we had chances to finish them off, maybe going 3-0 up at half time. Yet here we are again. I'm sorry, Arsenal fans. Stop blaming the officiating. If that happened to Tottenham, you'd all be laughing. You'd have memes. This is garbage. We had the chance. We, as a football team, like Kev said, we embarrassed Manchester City. Embarrass them. That hasn't happened in a long time, and not a lot of teams have done that. What's your take initially, in a nutshell?
So I agree with what Kev's saying. There was enough there to make me think, right, okay, you can build on this, you can learn. It's one of them where it's like, don't be despondent, don't, look at it and let it all run away. Take the good things out of that, build on that, and let's go, because this month's so important. I've said it on other podcasts that I've done this week. We could be out of everything this month. Like, this month is so, we could be out of all three things that we're trying to do well in within a month. So it's one of them where let's not kick our heels. Let's not get down. Let's keep going. Let's build on the good things and let's see where we can go. I mean, there's not many teams this season that are going to reduce Man City to no shots on target in a half. That in itself is something to be really, I think, proud of, and again to build on. But yeah, I thought the ref lost complete control of the game after the penalty incident, but we lost control as well. And again, it's that guy. You know, it's a long way to go about it, but over the Christmas period, my mother got a 2-tier tray of milk trays. She went in the kitchen. I thought, I'm going to go for the strawberry dream. She's gone. I've got a window of opportunity. And she caught me, you know, eyes in the back of the head. And she caught me with my hand in the milk tray going for the strawberry. That's Granit Xhaka. If you give that, yes, he's falling as the pool's coming in. He's going down already. But this guy's got, you know, when you've got previous, you're always going to get done. And that's just Granit Xhaka in a nutshell, sadly. He had his hand in the cookie jar. And the ref, you know, he got told to give it. I don't think he wanted to give it himself. But, yeah, he got told to change his mind. And that's the difference. You know, Gabriel really let me down. I've really, really backed Gabriel this season. I thought he's been absolutely brilliant. And in that first half, him and Partey, I thought really helped Ben White. I thought Ben White a few times with Sterling and everything got a bit caught up, but then them two just mopped up for him, as well as Tomiyasu as well. And I was really happy for that. And then, yeah, he's just done two silly things. The second one, I think the ref was just waiting to send somebody off, really. I can't believe that on the halfway line. He should have gone to him one more and then you're off. I thought it was soft. But, you know, but scuffing the spot.
He stopped play, though. He stopped progression. I mean, you can't do that. You just cannot do that.
That don't mean it's a yellow, Soph. That doesn't mean
it was his second. He's already
taken a booking. It's a yellow.
And they do so many. They do so many of that as well.
They were committing fouls, and they were stopping our progress.
Kev, you tell me all the time, and you said at the beginning of the show, they are the champions of England. Whether they're playing home or away, they're going to get the benefit of the doubt. They've earned that respect. We're earning our respect, and unfortunately, that was a stupid mistake from Gabriel.
Of course, but my point is, we're talking about the officiating. The officiating is. Fair enough. As soon as he turned and he goes like that, the referee can use some common sense. He can use some common sense. Soon as he sends him off, Sophie, really, we know what's coming.
Yeah.
Arsenal made a real fist of it, but you know what's coming against that team. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it's his fault.
And it's twice as well to give 10 men against Man City twice in a season. You know it's going to get punished. Sophie, you were messaging me on WhatsApp. You went, it's coming any second now, isn't it? And I was like, yep. You just don't know where. I mean, we have that corner. I get excited and I go, oh, come on, one more Arsenal, please. And then they get their free kick or whatever, and they benefit their set pick. That's the difference. They've got that tiny extra bit compared to us, especially 11 versus 10 as well. Yeah, they've got the quality.
Extra bit
of
quality.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's listen. I think this is gonna. I just think that every team has suffered at the hands of VAR and refereeing, and I think we all agree that there's been some very poor officiating in the Premier League. I'm just saying that at some point, to show growth as a team, which we did in the first half, we were flawless. It was beautiful to watch our performance, and we ruined it ourselves. Oh my God, I hate it when people tell me to stop being emotional. Like, just because I'm a woman, piss off, to be honest with you. Are you serious? Come on now. Football is emotional. Fans are emotional. The game is emotional. We controlled the game. Like, just stop that nonsense. I don't accept that. I'm not being emotional. I'm very calm. I'm talking calmly. Show some respect. We controlled that game and we lost our minds. Two senior players made very bad decisions that cost us. That's not an emotional response. That's facts. Kev, why don't you take us through the squad, please?
Well, look, let's start from the goalkeeper, Aaron Ramsdale. Let's go with Josh first on Aaron Ramsdale.
Yeah, I thought he was excellent during the game. Managed City very well when they had any opportunity to come into the box. I think managed the game very well. I wouldn't say slightly disappointed about the penalty. I know we're talking about free hits earlier in the show, but I think a penalty is kind of a free hit for a goalkeeper. You don't necessarily expect a goalkeeper to save a penalty. Certainly not one when I don't know how good he is at saving them. So I was slightly disappointed with that respect, but I think still it's an 8 out of 10 for me.
Hey. What about you, James?
Yeah, I'd give him a 7. The ball in the first half that he played to Martinelli for that chance was absolutely sensational. I was looking forward. I thought that you've got 2 goalkeepers here that can beat a press, and I thought that duel would be really, really interesting. But I thought Ramsdale come off the better in it. I think Lacazette, I know we'll touch on him more later on, but I thought he was brilliant just getting into Ederson's grill today, which is what I wanted. I was like, do not let him, we saw in the game away when we nearly scored from him. Yeah. And I was like, just keep doing it because he's shaky if we get it right. But yeah, no, Ramsdale won that goalkeeper battle from that point of view, but he let more goals in. But no, he was a 7. He's solid 7.
Solid 7. Soph, what's your thoughts on Rambo?
I thought when he was he had nothing to do in the first half other than that dodgy moment where he came for the ball, and it was like, oh gosh, is that going to cost us? But again, when he's asked to come in, he did well. So yeah, he gets a 7 for me. He's always leading even when he's not doing anything.
Yeah, I agree with you. I give him a 7. I thought with the ball at his feet, he was excellent. Made that one mistake with the cross from Sterling, which he misjudged. But apart from that, I mean, he's picking 2 balls out of his net, and they haven't really had any. He's not really had many shots to save at all, has he?
None in the first half, Kev.
None in the first half. I think he had a couple straight at him in the second half. But that was it, and he's picking 2 balls out of his net. Right, I'm going to go to James with Tomiyasu. Comes back into the team.
Yeah. I said it earlier. I think this guy needs to be tested, not just for COVID, but for something. He might have the cure here. He might have the World Health Organization or whoever. You need to get this man's blood and test it because he might have the cure here. The way he comes straight back in after being ill is absolutely insane. And yeah, he made some really, really good tackles. Like Sterling didn't get a sniff, which is what I wanted. And yeah, he's another one, solid 7 for me. Yeah, he done his job.
Josh?
Oh, I think he did even better than a 7. I had him down as a 9. I thought he was superb. For me, you could probably tell that who's maybe slightly more positive in their player ratings, because probably the gaps between are going to be the same between James and I. But I thought Tomiyasu was absolutely superb, and as you say, kept Sterling quiet. He was there as his best mate next to Ben White, giving him options, helping out Saka as well, because I think it wasn't just Tomiyasu keeping Sterling quiet. He had his mate Saka coming back well, and they had that great communication and combination play. They're helping each other out when they needed, and it was, I think it was another superb performance from Tomiyasu. And as we say, no shots in the first half from them. That's not on Ramsdale. That's on every single one of those defenders and the midfielders in front of them to keep compact, keep their shape. And I thought he was superb.
Excellent. Soph, what's your thoughts on Tommy?
The difference that he made, I think we're all delighted when we saw the team sheet and that he was ready to come out and play. I mean, everyone I think is so focused on Ramsdale because he's much more exuberant and he's more of a showman. But Tomiyasu is fast becoming probably our best signing this summer. And when he's not on the team sheet, it's one where you gulp. He was brilliant for me. I think he gets a 9. There's a couple of one-on-ones in that game where you're like, wow, totally like Martinelli embarrassed Cancelo in the first half, and Tomiyasu had Sterling and anyone on that side in his pocket. The way he wins that second ball, Kev, is so impressive. When you think he's out of touch, he just manages to stick with it and he gets back in it. And I think he's just absolutely quality. He gets a 9.5 actually.
He's our best,
9.5.
so he's our best right back we've had since probably Bakary Sagna, the prime
I would
Bakary
agree with that.
Sagna. It's absolutely superb. And I loved Hector Bellerin as well. And I thought he brings a lot to Arsenal, but we certainly don't miss him right now.
Yeah, I gave Tommy 8.5. I just think his physicality, the way. Listen, sometimes they get past him, but on the recovery, he is so tenacious on the recovery. I think he's absolutely superb. Very close to being our best signing this summer. Gave it to Ramsdale, but Tommy was very, very close as far as I was concerned. I just love the way he protects. He does help Ben White at times. Sometimes we need to against Manchester City because they pull you apart. Defends ever so well at that back post where we've seen Manchester City score quite a few goals. He defends that back post really well. And I just think he's all round. He's a solid player for us. And you know what? He's better at going forward than a lot of people give him credit. I think his passing's very good as well. So I give him 8.5.
He just goes about his business without
No nonsense.
Yeah, it's amazing.
No nonsense. Let's go for left back Kieran Tierney. What's your thoughts on Kieran? Let's go with Soph on this one.
I thought he did well. I think there were moments where he had to hold the ball up a little bit when really there was moments in that first half where we could have killed the game off a little bit more, but that speed we usually have coming through the middle, it wasn't there. Odegaard seemed a little off that. There were times where he could have crossed it back and he kept putting it into the box, and I just felt like that was reverting back to type a little bit, but he makes a massive difference to this team. I think you see the quality and the difference, the maturity level that he brings, as opposed to Nuno. So for me, I think he did a good job. He gets a 7.5 today. His pass to Saka for the goal was beautiful and well timed.
Let's go with James.
Yeah, 6.5 for me. Got his assist, but there were a few times as well he put some good balls into the box, but just Martinelli towards the end just ran out of puff, didn't he? Just couldn't get on the end of them. So yeah, it was a bit unfortunate. No, he did okay, like you said, Sophie. There were a few times where he cut it back. I thought he could have been a bit more bolder and braver and maybe took the man on like he did against Norwich and maybe had a go. But no, he done the good bit for the goal. So yeah, he gets a 6.5 for me.
Mm-hmm. Josh, what's your thoughts on Tierney?
So I've got him as a 7.5. So based on my scores, I've got him low down overall. I thought he was good in terms of going offensively, but defensively, especially in that second half, when we then went down to 10 men as well, I think he got a bit more exposed. Bernardo Silva. I think where he comes in on Granit Xhaka, that's because Tierney's not necessarily in that place. And you could see Xhaka was the one coming in, sweeping in behind and helping a man out. I think we saw him get a little bit exposed in that regard, but still a solid performance from me. Everything you kind of expect to see from Tierney instead, in terms of giving or providing an assist. But otherwise, I think defensively, again, there's room for improvement, certainly.
Yeah, well, I agree with you, Josh, and you, Soph. I give him 7.5. I thought he was a good outlook for the team. There was a lot of times in the first half, especially where he got down the left-hand side. A lot of the times where he actually never got the ball. We could have actually give it to him a lot more down that side, but didn't. Second half, it's going to change a little bit. They're going to adjust. We get a man sent off. You're going to get exposed at times down that side. That's when you're looking for whoever's going to come and help you out to just not make a silly mistake or decision to try and hold them up. But I thought he was decent. Again, that back four, being able to keep them really quiet and no shots at our goal in the first half was excellent. So I give him a 7.5. Let's go with Ben White. Soph, ask you about Ben White.
Yeah, I think Ben White benefits from having Tomiyasu with him, doesn't he? Especially in games like this. I mean, he seemed a couple of moments in that first half where it felt like he was a bit slow to the ball, exposed, and his teammates helped him out. Gabriel made a great interception that went for a corner that Ben White kind of missed, but he was the instigator for the goal. it started with him. I like the way he brings the ball out. He's very confident. And I think he's got a level of maturity that this team is going to benefit from. In fact, when Lacazette went off, I would have preferred the captain's armband go to Ben White or Kieran Tierney, but we'll get to that point as well. So Benjamin gets a solid 7.5 for me. I think he's growing game on game, Kev. And sometimes I think he gets a bit of a hard time, of course, because of that price tag, and people just want to have that scapegoat. Xhaka may have earned the scapegoat tag because of his poor decision making at times. But I think Benjamin White deserves a little bit more of the benefit of the doubt right now. So 7.5.
Okay. Josh, Ben White.
Yeah, I've gone for an 8 for Ben White. I thought he was absolutely superb. If you want to see the difference in the upgrade we've made in Ben White, have a look at the substitution of Rob Holding coming in and looking how he coped with Man City. That's the upgrade that we've made. That's what £50 million difference in centre-back gets you. I thought he was absolutely perfect until that last moment. Where we just kind of lost that communication and conceded that second. I'm not putting the fault on him, but I think generally, there was a loss of communication between that kind of back three at that point, including the goalkeeper in that. So I've got an 8 out of 10, but first half I thought he was amazing. Second half, equally as good, cool, calm and collected generally. And I think he oozed the calmness that we missed, earlier in the season as well.
Fair enough, Josh. James, what's your mark for Benjamin White?
Yeah, 7. He only lost one duel today, which I read, which I was impressed with. And towards the end, I think someone put it in the chat. He made a great header when they whipped it into the box, which is something that he normally gets criticised for. So that was, he cleared the lines well there. And someone else mentioned it as well. I thought he was very, very good up against De Bruyne. I thought he did really well in that little duel that they had, especially in the first half. So 7 for him. And you're going to touch on the next one, so I'll hold fire.
Well, listen, I give Ben White 7.5. I thought he was excellent. Look, the whole of that back four, back five, to be able to keep Manchester City out with the two midfielders, especially first half, I don't think that's ever happened under Pep. So that goes to show where we are moving in the right direction. Yeah, he's gonna give some balls away. Listen, nobody's perfect, but I thought he rose to the challenge. I thought he was pretty good, and I give him a 7.5. To be honest. So let's move on to Gabriel. Let's ask Josh. Gabriel, Josh.
You're muted.
Of course I am.
Yeah.
Of course I am. Unlike Gabriel, he started well in the first half from my comments. So I give him a 6 because you can't necessarily take away what happened in the second half. And arguably, he is not necessarily the result of us losing the game, but certainly didn't help our causes or help our chances with getting sent off. I've given him a 6 out of 10.
Fair enough. James?
Yeah,
Gabriel?
He gets a 5. He had a great first half, but just two silly things he done, and he got sent off for it. He got punished for it. But this is the thing. I hope the guy learns, because the other one's been here 6 years now, and he keeps making the same mistakes. So if he stamps that out, we got a solid player there. I think him and White as a partnership is the next best, with Diaz and Laporte, isn't it, for winning games at the moment, them two, whenever they're together. So we got something there. I just worry now that he's going to be out for a game, and we'll see how we go.
Fair enough. Soph?
I'm going to rate him on first half, second half, right? And I see him as a senior player, but he's still young. He's so mature, and he's shown this level of maturity since he's come to the Arsenal and been absolutely colossal. James and I were talking, we were like, this is prime for Gabriel to score a header today. And it felt, some of the deliveries were a little bit off, but some of them were good enough, and that didn't come to fruition. I thought he was a 9 in the first half. led by example again. He's intimidating, he's imposing. And he had the players, the City forwards in his pocket whenever he was faced one-on-one with them, especially Kev. In the second half, he gets a 3. You just can't do that in the Premier League. You can't do that against Manchester City, the champions of England, who are going to have decisions go their way. It's
So,
just
Sophie, so is it 9 minus 3?
It's 9 minus 3.
Or is it 9 divided by 3?
No, I'll put 9 minus 3. So we got
It's
a
going to
6
be.
in
It's
the
going to
end.
be. He probably would have got a 9 had he played the same way in the second half, but he did not. And now he's cost us because is he going to miss? Does he miss the EFL Cup game against Liverpool, or does he miss the game against Tottenham?
I think he misses the Nottingham Forest game, which is
I hear.
between the two. So if I remember rightly, EFL Cup doesn't go towards. The suspensions
don't count
isolated. In that one,
was,
but they will for the FA Cup, which is the game after Liverpool.
It was just very disappointing, you guys, and I just think that it's not emotional; it's fact that he made a terrible decision, and unfortunately, losing a player like him cost us in those last few minutes.
We can't afford. Yeah. So listen, I've put 9 minus 3 equals 6 for your score. Listen, I'm gonna agree, and I'm gonna give Gabriel a 6. I thought first half he was colossal, but second half getting sent off, especially after you've just been booked as well. Put the brakes on. Put the brakes on. I understand Jesus turned and you're trying to get out of the way. And the referee could have give it, look, one more and he could have give it that. But the fact is, do not put yourself in that position. This comes with maybe a little bit more experience playing against these types of players. He never thought Jesus would actually try and turn with it on his chest. That's what caught him out. But he needs to put the brakes on, and he will learn from it. I'm going to give him a 6. Listen, he's our lead. He's one of our leaders through that spine of the team. And what we need him to do is learn from this and come back better, because we can't afford. We need 11 players on the pitch to get anything against these teams. We can't afford to lose our main guy at the back.
Kev, guys, did that come after the Gabby miss went for a goal kick, didn't it? Was that after.
That was after.
Right.
That was after.
Yeah. Right.
That was after.
All right.
Yeah,
So,
it wasn't a great 2 minutes for Gabriel's. We'll put it that way.
No.
It wasn't. It wasn't. So let's go to our midfield, Granit Xhaka, and let's go with James. Granit Xhaka for you, James.
5. Yeah, 5. I thought first half he did really well. Let Partey have the platform to do what he needs to do, and but then just to say, a lot of people in the chat saying same old Arsenal, new year, same old. It's just same old Granit Xhaka, isn't it? Said it earlier. When you've got previous refs single you out, and sadly, he done a very silly thing, and that was that. And before that, he's doing step overs. He's doing back heels. I'm seeing things from him. Like in the Norwich game when he did around the world because everyone's buzzing. I think he got caught into it as well. And then he cost us. And just a shame, really. Just absolute shame.
Yeah. Josh, what's your thoughts on Xhaka?
Oh, I might rile some people. This is gonna be fun. I think if we'd won the game, irrespective of what he'd done, 10 out of 10. I thought he was absolutely superb in that game. It was the same guy that we saw. Remember back in the Euros?
Hold on. Could you say that again, please?
Yeah, 10 out of 10. We saw, think back to the Euros and Switzerland versus France. And there was that midfielder that was playing there that everybody was like, he was superb in that game. And it turned out it was Granit Xhaka. And we'd be crying out for a midfielder like that if his name wasn't Granit Xhaka. But I thought he was superb in that first half. Second half as well. Him and Partey, I couldn't split them in terms of how well they were playing because they were a unit. They controlled that entire back four. Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, both named as the most creative players in the Premier League right now. Bernardo Silva's having only second to Salah for a season at the moment, and we all know about Kevin De Bruyne. Didn't have a sniff, and that was that screen of those two in front of it. So I've given Granit Xhaka a 7.5 because obviously he had the brain fart, but I want to justify why he's so high is because I thought how highly of the rest of his performance. And of course, with Granit comes everything that we know and that penalty, which see, I have my thoughts on that penalty as well, that I don't necessarily think it is as much the penalty as the referee did, or at least VAR did. So yeah, I've given him a 7.5.
Okay, Soph, strong words by Josh there. What's your thoughts on Granit?
Excuses FC. How many times have we seen this movie? It's like I've said before, it's like those horror movies, you know, and every single sequel is the same in those moments. And when that, it's like Saw or Scream.
Like Scream.
Yeah, and yes. I screamed because I said, you know what? We may think it's not a penalty. He's falling down. The problem is the refs will give that all day long. And people kept coming at me on Twitter saying, teams do that all the time. Shirts get pulled all the time. He ruined a really good game. He ruined his own performance by making another stupid mistake. He's a mature player. Do you know what, Kev? What upsets me? Talk about being upset about something, or what ticks me off, I should say. Got to be careful with the adjectives one uses. Is that when he got sent off, I can't remember against who, Arteta pats him on the bum as he's walking off.
That was Man City.
Pepe gets benched, gets called out. Okay? He made a mistake today, all right, and he cost the team because, yes, we played well, and we've seen our team crumble against 10 men. I'm very, very proud of how they handled that for as long as they could. But against the City quality team, they get a chance, they're going to bury it, right? He gets the armband when Lacazette goes off. For 2 weeks on this show, I've been saying to you, will you lose respect for Mikel Arteta if he gives Xhaka the armband? I don't mind him being in the team, Kev. I don't mind him playing because he is the best partner to Thomas Partey. And Josh, I agree with you. They played like a unit today. But to give him the armband, to reward him for something like that, I knew this was coming. I said it when he did that PR interview with, I don't know if it was Amy Lawrence or someone at The Athletic. I'm not making this about Arteta and his decision, but I'm sorry, when you make decisions like that as a manager,
But the manager weren't there, Soph.
Come on, Kev.
Lacazette's walking off the pitch and he gives the armband to Xhaka.
The armband goes to someone who is either a senior player or
it goes to Xhaka.
It goes to that. There should be a rule at the Arsenal Football Club
but there isn't, Sophie. Come on, there isn't. You can, but you're going on about something that there isn't.
Okay, so so the management team have no decision, or they don't make any decision about who gets the armband.
Not at that moment.
Okay, I'm sorry, it's pathetic. You wanted him out of the club. You have been saying you can't behave like that.
What difference does that make?
My opinion is that he should never wear the armband ever again. If people are going to rip the Aubameyang like me...
I agree with you, Sophie. I agree with you. But the fact of the matter is, Lacazette's walking off and he gives the armband. Listen, there's a game to play.
He does not deserve to wear the armband. I will leave it at that.
Sophie,
that sends the wrong message.
I agree with you.
So why are you arguing with me then? I don't understand.
No, but the fact of the matter is, Lacazette gave it to him. There's a game to be played.
Then Xhaka should hand it to whoever is supposed to be the captain if Lacazette is subbed.
He's not going to hand it to anybody.
It's him, isn't it? Because in that group, Lacazette's 1, Xhaka's 2, and Holding's 3.
Yeah, of seniority probably.
Yeah.
Should have gone to Kieran. It should have gone to Kieran Tierney or someone who is. Sorry, I think that's a mistake. That's just my opinion.
No, Sophie. The reason why I say that is because, listen, we're playing Manchester City, and whoever Lacazette gives it to, he gives it to. We've got to deal with Manchester City right now. The manager wasn't there, so we can't say it's the manager's choice. we can't say that because it just happened.
Then the armband should have gone to the player that it should be. But clearly, the decision of the team is that it's Xhaka. Let's move on.
Well, it went to Xhaka. Listen, and what was his rating, Soph?
He gets a 6 because he made a bad decision. Otherwise, he would have got like an 8.5.
Fair enough. Listen, I give Xhaka a 5 because he did play very, very well. He did. I thought him and Thomas Partey really clamped down on a Manchester City team who have been playing excellent. But when you make that type of mistake, and Josh, you could say you didn't think it was a penalty. Let me tell you something. You watch it again and watch how long he holds onto his shirt. If he'd have let his shirt go after a split second or a couple of split seconds, the referee wouldn't have given it. But he held his shirt right until he was going down, and then he let it go. It's a penalty. For me, it's a penalty. He played well. Do I want him in the team, Sophie? I agree with you. No. Do I want him as captain? No. Fact of the matter is, he got the armband. I don't like it either, but he got it. He made a really bad mistake that got them back into the game, and it put us on notice. We then started to get caught up in it. We get a man sent off, and the rest is history, right? So I give him a 5. Let's look at his midfield partner, Thomas Partey. And let's go with you, Soph, on Thomas Partey today.
I thought Partey was brilliant. He's my man of the match. I think that he had his best game for Arsenal. And for me, it was the game everyone wanted to see against a top-level side. And it just sucks arse that he's leaving. And of course, I hope he has a great time playing for his country at African Cup of Nations. I hope he goes and comes back healthy. But my goodness, what a performance. That was like the most complete midfielder performance I have seen of any Arsenal player in years in that first half. Everything he touched turned to gold. He was everywhere. He was dictatorial. He was beautiful on the ball, and he was superb off the ball. I thought in the first half that was our best off the ball performance I've ever seen in a really long time with from Wenger to Wenger's latter years to Emery. I thought he was sensational. So for me, he gets a 9.5.
Nice one. Let's go with Josh.
Similar, 10 out of 10 for me with Thomas Partey. I'm not selling him this week, Kev, unless someone comes in with
hold on a minute. Is there no for sale sign on him this week?
Lamborghini.
Not this week. I know it's just opened, the transfer window, but
yes.
You know what? If someone wants to buy at the peak, maybe they can before the dip. No, I thought he was absolutely superb. It was a perfect performance from him. It's just a shame that his performance didn't lead to a positive result for us. But that was the guy that I have been wanting to see for 18 months. It was a superb performance from him. And yeah, we are really going to miss him when he goes off to the Africa Cup of Nations. But as like Sophie said, I wish him all the best because we were wishing, Saka all the best for the Euros. It's exactly the same stature of competition there. We shouldn't be patronising the African Cup of Nations. 100%. And yeah, I hope he comes back with a medal as well, because let's have a look at the guys that went to finals over the summer. Look how much they've come back and matured. Saka and Martinelli have both been absolutely superb since they came back from their summer adventures. So I hope the same from Partey and he can kick on.
Right. Well said. James, what's your thoughts on Partey?
Yeah, so for me today, nobody gets higher than an 8, but he was the man of the match, and he gets my 8 today. He was absolutely class. It's just a shame that it's come at a time that we now know that he's gone. And for me, looking at how he performed today and what he did, Lokonga, you've got a lot of responsibility now if it's going to be him. But if not, then you need to find somebody that matches that kind of energy and attributes to slot into that midfield now for what like I said earlier, is the most important month of the season. I don't know who this. I've got in my head who I want, but who we get could be completely different. But yeah, you've got to get someone that is exactly to the caliber of what Partey did today, because he was absolutely sensational. And I agree as well. I hope he comes back fit. I hope he comes back healthy. And if he can win the whole thing with Ghana, then all the best. Because, he was absolutely sensational today.
Yeah, listen, I agree with everything you've said. I just think we've been quick to criticise him and say, where are these Rolls-Royce performances? But today we really needed him to step up. And we saw some of the box-to-box stuff that he can do. Not only screening the back four, picking the ball up and driving up the pitch, playing little 5-10 yarders, playing balls across the pitch, playing balls through the lines. I thought he was excellent. I give Thomas Partey 9.5. We need more of these 9.5 performances. We know that, of course we do. But I thought he was excellent today. And now he's gone to the African Cup of Nations, and we've got to find a way how to be able to get that midfield functioning.
Yeah, let's see how Xhaka plays without him. You know what else too? For the first time, because we do a lot of live tweeting during the show, but for the first time in a long time, I just watched that first half, and it was mostly because watching Thomas Partey play the way he did was just like breathtaking, and it was just like one of those moments where you're like, wow, where has this been? But I really enjoyed watching him play football. There was nothing, it was effortless. And like James says, man, we're going to miss him. If he's now feeling fit, and, it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough.
There was that brilliant run in the second half where just Martinelli, like I said, he just ran out of pace. He just couldn't keep up with him. And part of me was just like, go do it by yourself. I know you're not the best in the box or shit. I just thought, just keep going. Just keep going. They might kick you. I don't know. Just have a try. But yeah, it was unbelievable. Like you said, we've wanted him to do this for 18 months and show that box to box type stuff. And yeah, that was amazing. Got you out. Well, I was laying in bed to watch it, but yeah, it got me out the seat type run.
Yeah, got you out your pit. Well, look, let's let a boy wonder, Bukayo Saka. James, what's your thoughts on Saka today?
Yeah, he scored a great goal. He scored a really, really good goal. It was a beautiful, when you can out City with football like that, it's a joy to watch. But no, there were times I thought he got caught out a bit out there, and but no, he had Ake on toast. But just the little bits in the final third, there are a few little decisions that I thought he could have done better. But no, he's another one for me. He gets a solid 7.
7 for James. Soph, what do you give Saka?
What I've been waiting for is for him to be really dominant against a team like Manchester City and have a performance where you only see him and you don't see any of their players. We've seen him do that against Tottenham. We've seen him do that, against other teams. But to see his performance in the first half, once again, you think to yourself, wow, he's such a generational talent. He's a beautiful player to watch. I thought he was phenomenal in the first half. Even when he doesn't have the ball, what he does is incredible. Takes defenders with him, opens up spaces, holds on to the ball. But today when he held on to the ball, Kev, it wasn't holding on to it too long. He was making really good decisions. And all this noise going off about him and Liverpool and all that nonsense. This guy's going to rule at Arsenal Football Club for a very, very long time. And his finish today, we've wanted more goals from Saka, and we've been getting that in the last few weeks. Brilliant stuff. Yeah.
What mark do you give him?
He gets an 8.5 for me today. I thought, second half was a little bit tougher, but he was irresistible in the first half.
Well said. Josh, what do you give Saka?
Well, I say Lionel Messi wears Bukayo Saka pajamas to bed. That's what I would say. For that performance today, he was superb. I think, as you say, Nathan Ake on toast is the performance we've seen from him, irrespective of what opponent he's playing against. He's putting in a similar performance. I'm giving him a 9.5, I think, because he was just slightly just behind Thomas Partey, because I think, as you say, he kind of had moments where he faded in the game, like young players will do. But, grabbing that goal, being part of that movement, I think, he was just absolutely brilliant in that game. And honestly, I thought Pep was going to change his entire setup to deal with Saka, and you could see it in that second half. I think, what was it, one moment, 4 City players around him. We haven't seen an Arsenal youngster be surrounded by a top-level team since Jack Wilshere against Barcelona. We haven't seen a top-level opponent deal with one of our players like that for so long, and it was superb to see. And I think that it's him and the other guy on the other wing that talk about, we've got to get them sitting down at the contracts table immediately, because even if Liverpool want to come in, I mean, how much money does John Henry have? I mean, we might have to sell the Red Sox in order to fund a move for Saka. Let's put it that way.
And then a quid. There you go.
Exactly, and then a pound
and then
as
a quid
well.
on top. Yeah,
That's £1.
Yeah,
That's
well,
$1.
Yeah, $1 and a pound on top. Listen, I give Saka 9 today. I thought he was excellent. I thought he was a threat. I thought Ake couldn't handle him. He just couldn't handle his movement. He couldn't handle when he dribbled inside. He couldn't handle him when he was going outside. Ake tried to give him some of the strong arm tactics. He held him up and he fouled him constantly. And Sophie's right. Seeing him surrounded by 4 City players who are scared of his talent was absolutely huge for us. Pity we couldn't get over the line, but Saka comes up trumps. He scores the goal, which we thoroughly deserved and probably deserved more. But he is really in form at the moment. And we said it's about production from Saka this season. Not only is he a talent, but we've got to see him assist and score. And wow, he's scoring now. And he's scoring against the best teams. So that makes a big difference to us. So I give Saka a 9. Let's look at Martin Ødegaard. Let's go with Sophie on this one, Soph. Martin Ødegaard today.
He's been so good lately, and at times today I thought he was a bit slow. I don't know if that's too harsh. There were moments where I felt like he was a bit off the boil with the ball. Could have made a pass a little bit quicker, but still, he's got great presence, and I think that slowly the fans that kind of look twice about him are starting to respect a lot more what he has to do in this team and what he offers this team. I thought he spread the ball really nicely to Martinelli a lot, especially in that first half. And then it was inevitable that once the sending off happened, it was going to be one of the creative players that had to go. And knowing that maybe we could still catch them on a counter with pace, it made sense to keep Saka and Martinelli on at that time. Not his best game, but I really appreciated his performance still against a top tier team. And again, another tick for a player at Arsenal, putting in a really good performance against the champions of England. So for me, he gets a 7.
7. Let's go with James on this one.
Next. Yeah. No, I feel exactly the same, but I'll give him a 6.5. But yeah, he did really well. What I do like is when he was subbed off. I don't know if we're probably all watching on different channels and what have you, but he was giving it to the 4th official, and he was like, he said 3 times he's effing and then he called him the D head, and I'm like, he's learned that from someone. I don't know who he's heard that off in training. I'm like, he hasn't picked that up from Norway. And but no, I was thinking the other day about the captain situation, and I thought to myself, Gabriel's my pick. And then a little bit of me was like, no, it could be, because Ødegaard keeps getting put at the front of things PR-wise for the club. If you saw all the Christmas jumper stuff, he was front and centre for that. Whenever there's something with kids, like he's always the one like he does the Q&A with the kids, or they do sometimes like training videos where they show you little moves that they do. And he was the front and centre for that. So I'm like, is he being, positioned into that role? And you know what? If he is, I'm happy for it to happen. I think today he just got swarmed. There were times where when he had the ball, same as with Lacazette, they just were like, just pack him in and stop, like you said, that out ball to Martinelli or to Saka. And yeah, it was unlucky. I felt better sad for him that he had to go, but you knew, like you said, you knew it was going to happen. But no, Kevin, a couple of months back, we did a podcast when people were really turning into him. And we both said, just hang on. You know, calm
Give me
down.
some time.
Especially
Yeah.
from yourself that did with all your La Liga coverage as well. You had more to give than I did. But I just said, no, the signs are there. Just chill out. And yeah, he's going to be fine. Trust me. The guy's going to blow up again. So don't worry about it.
Josh, what's your thoughts on Odegaard?
Yeah, just to add on from James as well, as captain of Norway, which he's already got the credentials of having the armband already. A bit like Aaron Ramsey was about similar age when he was captain of Wales as well in that Gary Speed team. I think it's a huge, shows how mature he is. And I thought, again, he was the guy that was leading the press, which I think was huge for us in that first half, really keeping City down. And that's his role as well. It's not just Laka who's leading from the front, it's Odegaard as well. I have him as an 8 for his performance today. Again, he's like quietly conducting that front 4 from Arsenal, just knocking the ball around. I love watching him play. And yeah, it's amazing to say we're fighting over who was our best summer signing. You know, we're holding up at least 2 from performances today in Tommy Arsu and Odegaard for, you know, it's between at least those 2. And then we don't even get into the Aaron Ramsdale signing as well. It was a superb summer from the club, and it just continues to confirm that the more and more we see this team playing.
Yeah, Josh, I agree with you on the pressing. You give him an 8, I give him a 7.5 today. I know in that midfield it's a little bit congested. It usually is against Manchester City because they do tend to push players in and up the pitch. So it kind of nullifies a bit of space. But, you know, just some of the one-touch football he plays, it may not be pleasing on the eye to some, but it makes a massive difference to a Thomas Partey when he plays it into him and he gets it back, and then he's got another picture in his head. But his pressing in the first half was outstanding. It really was. And we were actually trapping Manchester City at the top end of the pitch. You know, you hardly ever see Manchester City get trapped. We were trapping them constantly, and we were nearly having opportunities to score or to get shots off. So I give Odegaard 7.5. I thought he was fine. Obviously, had to make a change because Gabriel gets sent off. He comes off on the 63rd minute. But I thought he had a decent game. Wasn't as crazy as he was before, but I still thought he had a decent game considering.
Yeah, and a couple of people have said a few people in the chat have said, all 780 of you right now, that he was really good off the ball. So there's a lot of agreement on that front, and I think those are the things sometimes that go unnoticed. You don't appreciate because you're so focused on following the ball in the game. But what he did was positive. Our pressing in that first half was like, oh my god, is this Arsenal? Like, what's going on here? It was amazing.
We
Absolutely
were on it.
Amazing.
We were on it.
Yeah.
We were on it. Full of energy and on the front foot going for it. Right, let's get on to... I'll ask Sophie this one. Next is Gabby Martinelli. What's your thoughts, Soph?
What an exciting player he is. I've said this on the show many times that since Alexis Sanchez, I'm not sure there's been a player who gets me on my feet as much as Gabby does. He is so fast. I mean, he embarrasses players. He embarrassed Cancelo in the first half today. And, you know, I was hating that so many of our players played so well, not auditioning for Pep Guardiola, but Pep Guardiola seeing how good a lot of our players are, rubbing his hands together.
Get out of it, Pep. Yeah.
But also, Kev, I can't remember what player said it, that a lot of players in the past have said when you're playing against a Pep Guardiola team, there's something extra that you want to give. You want to impress and just play well in general. So, I mean, look, the first half, that shot that he hit from 25 yards was close. He had a couple of mishaps on the ball. I think sometimes his touch let him down a little bit, and the open goal was just a gutter. I'm not sure if the referee impeded his vision there a little bit, but being as ruthless as he has been, it was shocking that he missed that. And that would have made it 2 goals, and I think it would have been good night Vienna for us. But then the game changed completely after that. It was insane how it changed so quickly. He's a fantastic player. I'm not going to kill him for missing the open goal, but my goodness, what a miss. It was really unfortunate. He gets an 8 today.
8 today. Josh Martinelli.
to carry on from what Sophie was saying as well, yeah, I think he just absolutely had Cancelo on toast. It was until he was taken out, and I wonder for the goal that, or not goal, the open goal that he missed, if he hadn't been on the receiving end of that reducer on his right foot, if he takes that on his right instead of trying it with his left and missing it with his weaker foot, if he just positions himself slightly differently, if that doesn't happen, you know, football's always can be occasionally down to the small things, and I think that might have been one of them. Didn't fancy it on his right foot. Then I think he could bury that easily. But I've got him as a 9. I think up there with Saka in terms of just causing the problems to Man City, just without a goal. And I'm not going to beat him up as much about the open goal that he missed. I know it could have been huge for us, but I know what we've seen from Martinelli is he's going to come back stronger from that as well. I trust that young player to go through that adversity and come out strong. And I thought as soon as he was on the receiving end of that reducer, that an angry Martinelli might not be something that Man City want to deal with. A bit like Alexis Sanchez, as you say before, if you get in his face, he knows how to handle himself, does Martinelli. And I felt like he was then going to be even more determined to put them to the sword.
Yeah, I think our problem was that we were reduced to 10 men. That was the killer for us. What about you, James?
Yeah, 7.5. He could have had a hat trick. You know, the long ranger, that was very, very close. He had that other one in the first half where I thought he was Maradona against England, where he just kept skinning every single one of them, and then he just went wide. And then the sitter's a real shame, but it's like you said, weaker foot. So you'll let him off, and you know that he's going to come back and be huge for us. He's going to be so important in the next coming games. And you know, such a brilliant player. I mean, Cancelo, I don't want to be harsh on the guy. He's had an absolutely horrible week, and he probably thought, oh, you know, I played a football today, take my mind off it, and he's had a torrid time.
Credit to him. Credit to him for playing.
100%. Yeah, 100%. And that guy this season, he's arguably been, some people, and I know a lot of people have said Bernardo Silva's been arguably the best player in the league this year, but I think that guy's up there. I think he deserves a shout up there 100% as well. But no, Martinelli gave him an absolutely torrid time.
Just thinking of that run that he made in the first half.
First half.
Where he just does everybody on toast. The thing that annoyed me about it, though, wasn't the fact he didn't score. It was the fact that there was no one on the back post.
Yeah.
If Smith Rowe's playing, he's there on the back post. He's tapping that in. And I'm just hoping that the rest of our midfield and Lacazette, when we see Marty going in the box, is just like, be there for anything that comes up. Be there for spilling it. Because we know if he gets half an eye on goal, he's going to take a shot and he's going to play it in a position where you could get easily 5-10 goals a season from just waiting for parries from Martinelli shots.
Look, for me, I give Gabby an 8. I thought first half especially, he was a massive threat, him and Saka. They couldn't deal with our wide players. That's the difference. And I know, look, we're going to get to Lacazette obviously next. But when you have that dominance in the first half and you're only going at 1-0, sometimes, you know, you think to yourself, is it enough? And it proved that it wasn't enough, solely because what happened in the second half, some unfortunate stuff happened, and we shoot ourselves in the foot with some naivety and just some poor play. Let's be honest. But you're right, Cancelo is one of the best players this season for Man City. He got torn a new one. He needed help. That's why Martinelli couldn't really do that in the second half, because he got more help. So look, Martinelli, I called him. He's been clinical in this team and he's made a real difference. Unfortunately, couldn't quite do it today, and maybe that's the next step in his progress, in his progression, to be able to gobble up those chances and push us. But I still thought he works ever so hard. He tries. He's still got unbelievable quality. So I give him an 8. And last but not least, let's go to you, James. Lacazette.
Yeah. So for me, I'm going to give Lacazette a 7. Now, he didn't have many chances. I don't even think he had a shot at all. I can't really remember him having one. But what he did do is work his arse off. which is what he always does. There were times where, like I said, they were packing them in, but he's still getting that ball away. And I'll tell you what as well I liked, when Gabriel had his incident, he's still in there. Everyone, he's still yelling, having a go at the ref. Xhaka's having a go at the ref. Lacazette was the one that grabbed both his arms and went, "Get out of it. Just get out of it."
Yeah.
But also, and there's ways that you can do it. Every little decision today, he was the first one right in the ref's face. Like I said, he was in Ederson's face as well. And that I like, which is leading from the front. And I don't like to dwell on our previous captain's situation and the difference, but this is the difference you get with this guy to what was there before. Because this guy's receptive. We've got all these young players that literally they can piss through Cheerios and not get them wet. You just need to do your job, hold that ball up and just play them in. You might have to sacrifice your numbers. You might not get the goals you want to get or the glory, but you just need to stand there and just get them in. And that's what he does. And I tell you what, if we lose him in the summer, and we don't replace him with someone, we're going to miss him, because he really, really works hard, especially with these young players. And they all love him as well. They all absolutely love playing with him.
You can see that. Yeah.
Soph? I'm still noodling on James's pissing through a Cheerio.
Without getting it wet.
Yeah, I agree with Yo-Yo. Yeah, without getting it wet. He was the man on the pitch today. He was the adult. He led by example. And a lot of Arsenal fans may think he doesn't score. Said it before, say it again. He's that Bobby Firmino. What he does on and off the ball is amazing. What he does off the ball is incredible. And when heads were being lost in that second half, he really tried to keep everyone together. And again, another player who was unfortunately sacrificed, but I totally understand that substitution. It was the right substitution to make. Can't argue with that. And we're going to miss him. We really are going to miss him when he's gone, unless we find someone who has the exact same qualities, which I'm sure we will. And there's always an upgrade. Look what we were able to do in the summer. And it's unfortunate because the young players really look up to him. But for me, he gets a 7.5. Yeah, just Mr. Mature.
Yeah. Josh, what's your thoughts on Laka, captain?
Yeah, as you said, kind of captain, fantastic, but without necessarily the end product that we need. You could still see there is space for improvement for a player in that position. So whilst we're saying we don't want to, we may miss him. I hope we don't. But from a positive standpoint, I hope we bring in someone that is better. But you can see, as James was talking about, a player who came through Lyon. He was the captain of Lyon. That is a team that, if you know French football, always bringing young players through. He knows what this kind of team is like. He understands it. And I think if we'd offered him a bit more, a longer contract, he'd probably stay. But in the same part, I'm not annoyed that we only offered him 1 year. I think it was a good kind of in between from him. I thought today, though, as you say, superb from the captain's point of view, great at knitting the team together. I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. It was going to be a 7.5, but actually the two people that came beforehand convinced me by bring him up half a point because of what he did in terms of, you say, that captaincy, the stuff he did off the field or on the field, but away from the game in terms of harrying the referee in the right way. Ensuring that we didn't necessarily get booked or lose our heads, because I think there was a point where the referee did need pressure adding to him. And it was part of the game I'd liked to see from us, because we've seen it before. We go, oh, we're just a nice group of son-in-laws. I think we were described once of just too nice. But actually seeing that the game was getting away from the referee for us to be the ones to try and stand on him and try and pull the game back towards us as well. I thought was great to see Lacazette kind of leading that, and we did miss him when he came off. But as you say, we've got Liverpool coming up. I think we've got a great opportunity there, and having him rested for that game is going to be huge. Yeah,
I agree with you on this one, Josh. I think it's the only one we agree on today. I think Lacazette. I'll give Lacazette an 8. Look, I thought it was pure leadership today. The way he played, the way he knit the team together, the way he made other players better, the way he challenged. Obviously, he had a couple of shots but were blocked. which can happen because there's so many bodies in and around there. But his leadership shone through for me. It really did. Trying to calm the team down. Second half, when everybody seems to be losing their head, he's trying to calm everybody down, trying to get everybody focused. Unfortunately, our team are just not mature enough yet. They are mature talent-wise, but game understanding and game management-wise, they're just not there yet. So, look, I give Laka an 8. It was a hell of a performance as far as I'm concerned from him to knit it together. With a man down, we just couldn't get over the line. So that was an 8.
I just realised, Kev, we've been on for 1 hour and 15 minutes.
I know, Soph, and I'm going to have to go. But Rob Holding, ESR, El Nene. Rob Holding came on in the 63rd minute. Emil Smith-Rowe came on in the 71st. And El Nene came on in the 84th. So, Soph, do you want to give me your 3 marks for those 3 guys?
I like Rob Holding. He's a lovely boy. And his hair looks phenomenal. I mean, it's so impressive. But he's not the answer. I think we see the downgrade, unfortunately. And those are the areas that the team needs to pick up on. El Nene, good luck in the African Cup of Nations. Also, hope you have a great tournament. But again, another player who I think has worn out his welcome. We just need upgrades. When, you see City's bench, we just need upgrades. We really, really do. And Emil Smith-Rowe, I thought did really well when he came on. I just lacked, unfortunately, the opportunities didn't come his way because when, you go down to 10 men as well, it's a little bit tougher. So I'll give them all a 6.
6 each. James?
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Smith-Rowe's been coming on where we've been flying, and he's been allowed to do what he normally does. He had to do a lot more going the other way than he does the way he wants to. So it's harsh to really, dig into Smith-Rowe.
A lot of dirty work, isn't it?
Yeah. He had to do the grafting. So no, it's just the way it is, sadly.
How about you, Josh?
6 across the boards as well for them. There's not too much we can say about El Nene's performance after only 5 minutes or so on the pitch. Yeah. I think he was shocked to get the ball so quickly, though. There was a chance that I think if he wasn't hit so cold, he may have played a better pass than the one he did. But otherwise, I think Holding had a solid performance. But as I say, on the Ben White bit, that you can see what £50 million gets you for a centre-back. That's the difference. And Smith-Rowe just had a very, a game in difficult circumstances. Again, I don't think he did much good or much bad in that game. It was just very much kind of trying to, it was just a lot of work from there. Yeah.
So I'll go with you the trio here and make it 4, all 6s along the board. Look, I just think Smith-Rowe coming on, it was for legs. Against Manchester City, they're going to have a lot of possession, but we needed more legs in there. I think that's why Lacazette came off in the end as well, so we could get more legs in there. Because one thing Manchester City do, they move you from side to side, and then whenever you don't make that run, then they start to penetrate. And it came up trumps for them in the 93rd minute, and that's when they scored. And look who scored it: the holding midfielder. Why? Because they could start taking chances. This is going to be the evolution of the Arsenal, of what we're going to be able to do when these players start to get a lot more mature. What would you give the standing manager, guys? What mark would you give the standing manager?
Let's give him a 7. I liked the celebration when the goal went in. He was very passionate. I liked it.
You give Albert a 7.
Yeah. I don't know who the other guy was that had the headphones on, by the way. I thought he won a competition. He looks about 12, doesn't he? He looks very young.
Right, he does.
He was. He had Arteta in his ear. His ears must be on fire. Yeah. On fire.
Yeah, he must have been cussing.
Yeah, you wonder, don't you? You wonder
if
if the manager is on the sideline. Are things different? I think that he was there. I think the players felt him. I thought he did a good job. I think he gets an 8. And clearly Arteta was in touch with his staff throughout that entire game. So
he's probably broke the telly in his house. But
What do you think, Josh, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the things that he managed or could controlled well. Obviously, we don't know how much of that was based from him or him just parroting Mikel Arteta. But I think, yeah, it's 7.5 for me from everything he did. I think otherwise it's just a great job that I think we generally did, especially in the first half.
Yeah, I give him an 8, to be honest. Look, the type of football we played, I think Sophie alluded to it at the start of the show. That's the best performance I've seen Arsenal do in the first half for many a year, especially against the type of opposition that we played. Oh, it was huge. Couldn't get over the line in the end because of we know about the decisions. But I thought the press was good. I thought the traps were good. I thought we done pretty well. Took the lead. We caused them major problems. And even with 10 men, we still had a goal. And you've got to say fair play to Albert for that. So I give him an 8 for that. And I thought it was a job well done, although we ended up being on the wrong end of a 2-1.
It really stings. Now I know what it feels like to be kicked in the balls. Really hurts, guys, doesn't it? That's what it's. That's what it must feel
Sophie,
like.
You have no idea. Let me tell you what it feels like.
It's as painful as having a baby. How about that one? You guys don't know how that one feels like.
We don't know how that feels, but let me tell you, Jesus, please.
Let's just put it this way: we wouldn't do it again.
Yeah, no chance.
Well, look, Josh and James, part of our tactical squad, thank you so much for joining us. Jenny, you're right. It's hurtful today. I feel a bit deflated, even though I'm so excited about that first half performance. It's going to be very interesting to see how this young team overcomes a brutal loss like that. Their heads will be down. But like Josh said earlier, look how Saka bounced back after what happened with England and the abuse that he got. Martinelli, strong character. I think they're a little bit stronger than the weak sauce we've seen over the last few years. So bouncing back quickly is going to be important. James said January critical. Super Kev, it hurts, but I'm just going to try and not use my rear view mirror in the second half and just focus on what happened in the first half. Unfortunately, a couple of dodgy moments. And it cost us in the end. Manchester City did not deserve to win that game. They did not. Pep Guardiola, I'm sure, will say. We'll look at a little bit more of the quotes from Pep and Arteta on Monday's show. We'll be back live, Monday Madness. Happy New Year to everybody. We are wishing you all a very healthy, happy, and let's hope there's a bit more adventure in 2022 for all of us. Kev, close it out.
Listen, James, Josh, fantastic. And thanks for coming on, guys, after the game. Sophie, hostess with the mostest, as always, running a very tight ship, 1 hour, 20 odd minutes. I love it. And you squaddies, Happy New Year. Listen, it's a tough defeat to take, but don't be despondent because we saw some real positives in this performance from the boys. We just got to get a little bit more mature and win the next game. That's the key now, win the next game. So, from all of us, to you on New Year's Day, squaddies. At ease, squaddies. All the best.
Sorry.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.